Hello, YouTube. My name is Carlene, and this is my channel, See It With C. And this is the Monday Meetup, where every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we have some sort of content, whether it be a premiere, a trip announcement, or we are chatting live related to a travel topic. So get on in here and get to chatting today. We are talking about something that I've been excited to chat about for a while, which is traveling to the continent of Africa. And a lot of you say, I want to go to Africa. Well, Africa has 54 separate countries inside of it, and it's a very diverse experience. So I've been to 4 of those countries and hoping that I can, elaborate on my experience, give you some pointers, maybe help answer some questions related to my travel experiences, and even show you some African-based cruise options. So get on in here. Let's chat. We're here. It's live, and it's the Monday Meetup. So welcome in, welcome in. So yeah, for a lot of you, you may know that I had, I guess over the weekend, sometimes we end up doing a premiere. Over the weekend, I released my MSC World America Taino Bay content. But before that, I released my trip to South Africa, which was I had to go back and count. Like I used a whole app called TripIt to count. And I've been saying the wrong numbers. So I've been to South Africa 7 times, but I visited the continent, 4 countries. I've been to South Africa 7 times, Morocco twice. I've been to Ghana and Zanzibar, which is in Tanzania. So hopefully with all those spaces in between, I can answer some of your questions. I know some of you are also travel connoisseurs yourself, and you've been a lot of places. So chat, get in the chat. Where have you been on the continent? Let us know. Or if you're interested in going to the continent, where exactly you are. All right, let's get into these comments. They're starting to stream in now. We had a little lag. So welcome in, y'all. This is the Monday Meetup. My name is Carlene, and this is my channel, See With C, where every Monday at 7 p.m. you have some content, where there be a premiere, live stream, something. We are chatting travel, and today we are chatting about land-based and cruise African vacations. So get on in here. Make sure I have the right angle. All right, who we got? We got Turkisha saying, hey, what's up? Hey, Turkisha Huggins, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Happy Monday. We have Cassandra McCoy saying good evening. Welcome in, Cassandra. Thanks for being in here. We got Phil and D's Travel Spree popping in saying hello. Hey, Phil and D, welcome in. We have Sig the Solo Cruiser is here saying, hey, Carlene. Hey, Sig. Sig says she saw both. You saw both of what, Sig? Thanks for being here. And what else? We got Event Shores and Spirit. Happy belated birthday, Tanya. Yesterday was T's birthday. So happy birthday, T. Hope that you had an enjoyable day. I got to watch your Carnival Conquest vlog this morning. Actually, I watched it twice. I watched it once this morning when I was on the treadmill, but I was like at the point that I was like asphyxiation, near death experience. So I watched it again when I got to my desk at work. And it was such a great vlog. Good to relive those memories. On the Go Yolo is here. It was good to relive seeing Yolo in those memories because Yolo was lit as I don't know what coming back to that port in Nassau. Sig is saying she is waiting on the African group cruise. Well, I'm going to show you all some searches. When you see the cruises for Africa, that might give you on the continent, that may give you some different perspective. I probably would do a land-based trip somewhere in Africa. I probably would do a land-based trip to South Africa versus a cruise, but we're going to see. We're going to show you what your options are today. So Gina's World is jumping in here. She says, I'm interested in this topic. My sister was born in Guinea. Is that I'm saying right? Guinea? I have not been there. So awesome. Cool. And how long she was born there? So how long I guess your family was in military? Someone's from there. Tell us more, Gina's World. How long did she get to stay? Folks are speaking. Kenny Elliott is here saying hello. Sydney Steffens is here saying, hey, see, happy Sunday. Yes, happy Sunday, Miss Sydney. And thanks for popping into yesterday's premiere. We were talking about Taino Bay. Was that yesterday already? Yeah. I ended up premiering my MSC World America Taino Bay vlog yesterday to get out the way so that we can come and chat live today. So hopefully you all seen that. Taino Bay has grown on me as one of my favorite cruise ports. I love a lazy river and an easily accessible lazy river. So Taino Bay is giving me that. I'm trying to put on my little blinder. There we go. So I don't look off in the wrong direction. So yeah, that was released yesterday. What else did I highlight in that vlog? I think you all got to see a lot of the activities that MSC World America has. It's particularly in the evening. The ship comes alive. There's lots of options. Almost too many options, but I appreciate MSC for trying for sure. Who else you got? Jaretha says, hey, see everyone in chat. Welcome in. On the Go Yo says, I have not seen or I have not been to the continent yet. And I love that you say that on the Go Yellow. It's so funny because I know Phil commented. So I knew I was going to get this comment. So I've done 2 vlogs. I've been to South Africa 7 times. I had to count on my trip. I've been to South Africa 7 times. But in the vlog that I released, was it a week ago? I was talking about the continent in general. And someone posted, you can't say Africa. You need to be specific about exactly what you're talking about. And I was chuckling because, like, I get it. It's nails on a chalkboard to me when people just say, like, now there was one thing, like, there are generalities of, like, yeah, I just want to go to, like, the continent. But, of course, it's preferred to say exactly where you want to go. But I was laughing because I pinned that person's comment because I was just like, dude, or whoever it was, I was like, I get it. But definitely it was, like, an interesting thing. So I appreciate you said the continent because Africa has 54 countries. They're very different. There's a difference between like Western Africa, Northern Africa is very different, Eastern. So yeah, hopefully we get to chat about some of those places that I've been to. And let's get more into the cons. So Yellow has not been yet. Period yet. Love it. 6 says, yes, I want to go to the continent with Carlene. We might make it happen. I've been pondering it. But I know there's a lot of options at the moment. And I don't know. I'm interested in hosting something on, particularly in South Africa. But I know me, and if I plan it, I'm gonna be like, I want the people to come. So I'm gonna have an attitude if I plan it and y'all don't come. So I'm thinking about it. And actually, it's a good opportunity to kind of pop in what the current group opportunities are. At the end of the slide, I'll show you that there'll be a QR code. And if you are interested in traveling to the continent with me, just scan the QR code, just put what you're interested in. And I'll kind of create a wait list to see who's all interested. I do know if I do a trip, I will probably do some sort of like orientation kickoff to like before taking people's deposits so that you all are like really aware of what you are signing up for, and then go from there. So let's do a quick commercial break, particularly since Sig is here, we can do a commercial break. So a quick commercial break in regards to like what current offerings, and then I promise you I'm going to get into the content, or not content, into the commentary related to some of my travels, some of my like stories, things that kind of stick with me about being on the continent. So here, of course, we have the Good Gov giveaway, which would be there's a group opportunity if you want to travel, sail with me on Labor Day, August 29th to September 3rd, 2025, which is going back to Taino Bay. So if you saw the vibes Taino Bay in the vlog, you know that it's one of my favorite ports. I have something planned, really excited for the group there. More not excited, it's more of a thank you. I think it's be a nice touch. So that will be Labor Day weekend, kind of maximizing those PTO and government holidays. But it's a Good Gov, go on vacation and get away, use your PTO, and make sure you're taking care of yourself and resting. That's on Virgin Voyages, so it's adults only. And I think the last time I priced it, Virgin's been kind of ebbing and flowing with its prices. I think it's about $1,500 for 15 to 1,700 for solos and about $2,000 for double occupancy. So if you're interested in that one, let me know. In 2026, I'll be hosting the ultimate solo group cruise with the Solo Cruisers Jen Danielle Experience, Sig the Solo Cruiser on Celebrity Reflection. Deposits are $100 per person for that. Those are old prices, but reach out to me or Sig or Jen for the most updated rates. Then starting with 2026, and you can use this QR code too if you are interested in like, hey Carlene, I'm considering possibly going to Africa with you, or South Africa particularly. How do I hide that? You can't see the QR code, but you can use that. There we go. You can use this QR code here to, if you're interested in possibly going, it would be South Africa, possibly 2027 is what I'll be looking at. So if you want to get on the wait list to travel, there you have it. But on 2026, we're going to maximize our PTO during the Columbus Day holiday, which will be October 9th through the 11th, 2026. And we'll be eating and drinking around the world at Epcot Food and Wine Festival. So if you are interested in getting waitlist for that, there you go. All right, enough of the commercials. Let's get back into the chat and let's start talking about what it's like, where have I been? First time ever seeing, because Yellow was like, she has not seen the continent yet. My first time seeing the continent was 2016. And it was to South Africa, which was my first country ever visited on the continent. It was actually Labor Day. So Labor Day, when you're visiting South Africa, you're going to have like that fall kind of feel. So it's not like when I go for, what is it called? Like usually I go New Year's kind of holiday, kicking off the new year there, where that weather is typically a little warmer. September is kind of, a little bit like coming off, I think like fall-ish. It's a little, you need your sleeves, that kind of thing. But I will say that Labor Day time period for visiting, like the first time I went, the flights are very cheap in September heading to South Africa. So I got that flight back then on Virgin. Was it Virgin Atlantic? Yeah, Virgin Atlantic for $667. And that took me through, a lot of times you're going to visit the continent, you're going to go through Europe. So I had a 12-hour or 13-hour layover in London that first time. I was able to visit London, got on the hop-on, hop-off bus, came back to the airport, took a shower, and then, so it was like 7 hours over, then down. It was, how many hours going down? I think 11 hours heading down from London to South Africa. So basically, I think that year I went straight into Johannesburg. A lot of times I rotate between Johannesburg or Cape Town. So I was flying into Johannesburg. On that second leg, I did upgrade it to, what did I get into? Virgin Atlantic has their, can't remember, it was like their business class, not like the full layback seats, but like almost like a Comfort Plus kind of thing. So that was kind of my first like stop intro there. On that first trip, I also did a ton of the, which you probably won't see in the vlogs. I did a ton of the historical things, like the landmark-based vacations, those kind of stops, like Robben Island. I went to the Apartheid Museum. All of that was kind of on that first trip. So that's why, like, if you watch my vlogs now, you'll probably just see me eating out and partying because I've done all of the touristy stuff. Dorita says she has not been on the African continent as of yet. Cool. So if you were to go, where would you go? Like, where would you have any ideas where you would go with your first stop? I read that one already. Turkisha says, I would love to visit all continents and see whatever I can. Got you. Yes. That's a goal for me for sure. I feel like Antarctica would definitely be like a cruise. I feel like this would be the best way to get there. And folks are wishing T a happy belated birthday. Sig says, yes, land-based. Sig is just like, I just want to go. Yeah, I think if I were to host something, it would probably be land-based. It would probably be to South Africa. It would probably be 2 cities included in that. So I've been to South Africa solo as well as with a group 7 times since 2016. So my next spot on the continent after South Africa, same group of folks. So initially I went for a birthday trip. The second country that I went to was Ghana. And Ghana was so polar opposite of South Africa. So South Africa to me basically reminds me of a very black, Johannesburg reminds me of very black New York. Cape Town reminds me of a LA. I still want to get to Durban. Every time I have a vlog related to like visiting, people who pop in like the comments, particularly for South Africa, they're like, why didn't you go down to Durban? So, and I probably also need to vlog more of Johannesburg because I get that feedback a lot. People are like, why aren't you in Joburg? And it's usually like, I'm only there for like 2 or 3 days. Cape Town is kind of I love the vibe, the water, that kind of thing. So Sig is down. So Sig, if y'all are down, then definitely scan here. You can scan this QR code here if you want to be waitlist. Just put me. I know it says Good Gov Getaway 2026, which will be in Epcot. eating and drinking around the world. That one is a meetup, so you don't have to necessarily book it through me. Just October 9th through the 11th. Let's go drink around the world, hang out, and take it on home. But you also can scan this QR code if you're interested in like a land-based South African vacation, let me know. I'm interested in engaging the interest for sure. What else we got? So Sig is geeking out. Travel SBC is saying, hola, ¿cómo está? Muy bien, y tú, Travel SBC. How can I get my face? There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. I can't get back. Okay, so Gina's World said her family's from Haiti. Fuller Life now is here saying, hey, seeing everyone. Hey, Fuller Life, welcome in. Thanks for being here. YOLO is speaking. Ken Hill saying, happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. The Foxes are saying, what up, Carly? Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, G. Welcome to the chat. Turkisha says, I visited 27 states in North America. That is awesome. That is awesome for sure. I lost my state count. I think I can't remember if I'm at 30. I think I'm at 29 states. Maybe I hit 30 when we went to Washington for Melanin at Sea. Or maybe I'm at 29. I can't remember. I have this whole little tracker. I use the Ben app. That helps me like organize where I've been. I don't know. I'm a numbers person. So I like counting, how many. I've been in 31 states. I've been in 31 states. But I love this little app called Ben. Oh, you can't see it. It helps me track like where I've been around the world, where I've been in the United States. I definitely want to do more states-based travels for sure. Something that I was noticing today is talking about like how much micro travel is becoming a thing where, it was on Essence magazine on Instagram was talking about how much micro travel is like starting to bubble up, where literally you pop us in a place for 48 hours, get in, get out, and keep it moving. They were actually saying like St. Thomas was the post, but I can definitely see like popping in or out to a state I've never been before. So that's awesome. Yes, we can't be out and about around the world. Or you can be, but without, make sure home base. Chiquita B is here saying, hey, Chiquita B, welcome in, girl. Saying hey to everyone. Gina's World says, my parents are from Haiti, and when they were in their 20s, they were approached to teach in Guinea, and they lived there for 2 years and then moved to Paris. Absolutely, yeah. You'll see definitely heavy contingencies of folks from the continent, like particularly in like Europe. And something that like whenever you're visiting, it's going to be a strong chance, like I mentioned, there's going to be a stopover through Europe. So I think the first time I went, I told you I stopped in London. I've had a layover in Paris before. I think I was heading down to South Africa. I can't remember where I stopped when I went to Ghana. I don't remember where I stopped. Maybe I came from DC to New York and it was like New York over. But you're definitely going to have that European kind of leg. Sometimes you'll stop through Amsterdam, get that like 12-hour layover so you can go visit the city, and then kind of come back to the airport, take a shower, and then finish that like 11 hour leg down. I've stopped through Turkey when I was going to Zanzibar, but I didn't have enough time to get out the airport in Turkey. So you definitely have an opportunity to like pop over into Europe, make it a day or two, depending on like how you're feeling before going down. Now, I will say when you are in transit, it amazes me how, thank you, Okara. It amazes me how when you are in transit, they'll have like a really nice plane. So like whenever I leave, like Dulles particularly, which is DC's big international airport, there'll be a bomb plane, coming out of Dulles, newest features, seat back entertainment. The leather is crisp, no bread crumbs and cookie crumbs in the seat. And then that final leg, which is like wherever in Europe down, it's like they give us the crappy planes. I was talking to some of last week, which will be a members only vlog. Last week, I ran into I'm going to a YouTube creator event where Jeb Brooks ended up being, who was a big time plane travel person. I got to geek out with Jeb Brooks about plane travel. And he was mentioning an upcoming trip where he was going. I think they were heading to South Africa themselves, but they wanted to try a Lufthansa product. And I was sitting there giggling because I was just like, they always send the crappy planes from Europe down. Even like British Airways sends a crappy plane down to the continent, like, but you'll get a really nice plane coming from like US. So I hope if the airline industry hears anything, and it's wild because it's not that that route isn't packed. It's the seats are filled, but for some reason they decided they want to send the crappy planes. So airline industry, you know, for whatever it's worth, definitely consider giving us, you know, giving your good products when you're leaving, when you're, you know, heading to continent. Even last time, some of you all watched the videos of me, my Christmas in a Q Suite video in Qatar. The Qatar Airways plane that they had from Dulles to Doha, beautiful plane. The same going down from Doha into Cape Town, it was an older product. So the business class wasn't as like private. It was definitely the nicer chairs, but you noticed that. And the same thing for in the back in economy. So Sitting Seven says great idea and orientation first. Yes, because I watch, and self included. I know a trip pops out and somebody says, "Oh, we're gonna go here," and everybody's really excited. And then when it's time to make that deposit, and then particularly because there'll be a lot of people, I'm guessing, first time on the continent, I just want to like level set, like it'll be nice, etc. But you know, just want people to make sure that they know what they're signing up for in regards to just you know, the travel style, being prepared to like, you know, weather, those kind of things. There'll probably be an inner what is it called? Is that not intercontinental? And there'll probably be a flight within the country that you have to pay for. So those are the kind of things that I want to prepare people, because it sounds good until you actually have to like do the things. So yeah, I'll probably see what the interest is. And again, if you're interested, I'll pop up the QR code so you can I pop up the QR? Come on, QR code. So you can see it. And then where is it? QR code. There we go. So if you're interested, I know it says 2026. It'll probably be 2027, but I'm just want to kind of curious people's interest. You can just use that QR code there, scan it, and let me know if you're interested in a group trip to South Africa. And we'll go from there. Okay. Who else we got in the chat? So I talked a whole lot about South Africa. You have 2 blogs for that. Now my next, and I started talking about this a little bit, was my next country was Ghana. So Ghana was the next spot I went to, which was in 2017. Who else do we have here? In 2017. And Ghana that was like a polar, like Ghana was really like the authentic, what I consider like an authentic African experience. I appreciate having the experience, but like Ghana wore me completely out. So Ghana was definitely where I was like, oh, the infrastructure, you get to feel, get to feel some of the, like, you know, just the hustle and bustle. However, Ghana was kind of where I learned like, a lot about just history, a lot about culture. Like everyone talks about the door of no return that like President Obama, you know, has been noted for going through. Well, there are multiple doors of no return, and the doors of no return aren't just in Ghana. They're in any African country that pretty much was tied to the slave trade. But the most notable door of no return was in Cape Coast Castle, and that's because President Obama went through there. There's a nice marker. The castle itself has a lot of the history, and it's a little more stories, and not stories, but a little more history. It's easier to see kind of like what the trade actually looked like in regards to, they had these massive holding cells underneath a church. It was a lot of emotion behind a lot of the stories. But yeah, Ghana wore me completely thin. It also kind of reminded me about like just the infrastructure. So like you have to be mindful about traffic. You might want to take the worse looking hotel so you don't get stuck in 2-hour traffic versus like the really posh resort that might be away from things. So that was kind of my second. I do want to go back. So we went to Accra, which is the capital city. We went to Kumasi, which is the Ashanti region, which is really significant in regards to like tribal history. And then we went to Cape Coast, which has the notable doors of no return. So we went to 3 cities in a van. So imagine 3 cities in a van. And it was funny because initially the first van they tried to, and this was like a little bit of the African hustle kicked in. The first van that they tried to put us in, like it was no extra space. It was no extra space. Then it was funny because the van, and I know the van had roaches. So we had to tell the dude, like, yo, we keep seeing these bugs. Like, we can't be in here. Our stuff is in here. So he was like, oh yeah, like he basically like raid bombed the van. And then we were just like, yo, we can't be spending, like, we're going to be, I think we did, that trip was like 8 to 10 days. We were like, we can't be, in this tight van. He wanted to strap our luggage. He was all trying to save $1. He wanted to strap our luggage. Like, he was trying to basically use all the money that we gave him to transport us and to be our tour guide. He wanted to use all that money, like keep it in the pocket. And we were like, no, we need a bigger bus. So we eventually got a bigger bus that could hold our luggage. But dude was just like, yeah, I'm going to strap this up here. And we're going to ride through the countryside. And while we're riding through the countryside, they don't got no speed bumps. So literally, like, they would throw a barricade, like a cement barricade. So the driver would just hit the brakes. It was like, when I say rough, it was rough. But the historical moments were definitely worth seeing. There was a book, and I can't remember the name of the book, was pretty historically accurate. There are some emotional things that I'm like, I think it's emotional because they're trying to get the tourist dollar, but it didn't necessarily line up with history or timeline. So for instance, there was this river in Ghana that was known to be, it was supposed to be the last bath for slaves, right? And so we get in there and they're getting us all, as African Americans, emotional about, this is where they had to take the last bath. And then we started thinking, I'm like, this spot is 75 miles from where the auction block would be, which would be in, was it Elmira? No, Elmira's the name of the castle, which would be in Cape Coast. So I'm like, I never, participated in the trade, but I would imagine you would watch them when they got to, Cape Coast and then sell. So basically, I think that spot was a tourist trap. Then the guy at the end was trying to sell us what he called slave water, which was like $30 for a vial. And we were just like, sir, hundreds and hundreds of years. And you can't tell me that, like, I'm about to buy this like $30 bottle of slave water. Or you can write your name on this wall for $50. That was like in Sharpie. So those are the kind of things where I say, like, there is that element of hustle that you have to bring some awareness to, because if you're going gullible, like, oh my God, I can't believe this, and you're all in tears, like, yes, it's emotional, but like, some will actually use that to your detriment. So that was my travels in Ghana. I'm going to get into the other 2 spots, which were Morocco and Zanzibar, in a second, but let me get back into the chat to see what comments we have. So basically tonight we were talking about land-based African, as well as African cruises as well. And then, we'll see what else we got in the comments. On the Go Yellow says, I would love to visit Cape Town. Between your vlogs and my cruising family, I'm so excited. The beach and winery. Yes. And the wine is so like good. They don't use preservatives. So I feel like whenever I'm there, I'm drinking gobs of wine and I don't feel like a hungover. I don't feel like a headache, anything like that. So really good quality wine. You will encounter good Cabernet or good Sauvignon Blancs, and then they do a lot of Cabernet or mixed red wines because the weather is pretty volatile in that, like, where the wines are growing. And then a note for beaches, and particularly for South Africa, the beach looks nice, but it's not really swimmable. So it's cold, it's pretty, wavy. It's nice to look at, but literally this last trip for New Year's that I went on, the lady next door. So I had an Airbnb, which you all saw, and I went out on the deck, and like the nosy next door neighbor peeped her head around. So she and I began talking for like a good almost 30 minutes. But she mentioned that 2 children had literally drowned a week before I arrived at the beach. So it's definitely like you're here to look cute versus like a swimmable, tame Caribbean beach. But I definitely think like for like knowing a lot of you, I think South Africa is a good intro to the continent, but I say don't stop there. Actually planned a trip for a client who his first trip was to he went to Kenya and did a little bit of the safari. And that was his first time there. But I hooked him up with a really good tour provider. So I felt good with like me selling and getting him to go a place that like I had not been because he was in good hands. But I think for a good do-it-yourself, like my cruising family, for a good do-it-yourself, easy to navigate, I think like South Africa is a good intro. But I'm pretty sure there are other places like Morocco, not too bad. It's a little hustle still in Morocco too. But for the most part, I think South Africa is like a pretty good introduction to the continent if you want to start somewhere. And then, you know, spread your wings for sure. That's just my opinion. If folks have other places that you think would be a good introduction to the continent, because I know I'm not the only person who has been to the continent who's in this chat, pop it in, let me know, let the folks know. My cruising family says, thank you for the prep call when we are when we are planning our Cape Town trip. Yeah. And I think my cruising family, I'll probably try to do Cape Town and like Joburg and Cape Town. But I have to get the feel of things because if we do Joburg, Cape Town, that will require a flight that would be between the two cities that you all would like have to coordinate on your own. And I would rather you purchase directly from the air carrier that takes between Joburg and Cape Town. But we can talk about the deets. And again, if you're interested, you don't have to. We'll probably just do like an orientation of fillers. I'll give you the like real deal Holyfield preliminary numbers, those kind of thing. You can scan your stuff. Where is it? Scan this. I'm sharing. Share. No, I don't want to invite. I want to share. Nope. There we go. Oh, no, I didn't thought I was sharing. I'm sorry. I'm having like technical difficulties. Anyway, I'll share the QR code once I can figure out which button to push. There it is. So you can scan this. I know this is a good Gov Getaway 2026. That will be for 2026. We are going to Epcot Food and Wine Fest. It's a meetup. So you can either book through me or you can book through other folks. You can just book through yourself, whatever. That'll be eating, drinking around the world, but you can use this QR code if you're interested in orientation, planning call, that kind of thing for going to South Africa. All right, back to the comments. How do I get myself off the screen? There we go. Who is? Oh, we talked about that. Here we go. Six says she's already scanned and she's entered her info. I mean, not that I can't find you. Hey, Parker's on the go. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you got packed for your upcoming trip. Cheryl S. is here saying hi. Hello. Caprice is from Michigan. Hi, Caprice. Welcome in. My cruise family says, yes, shout out to the Ben app. Yes, the Ben app is really good. The Ben app and then TripIt. I usually log my trips to TripIt. So that's how I was able to go back and count. And I was like, dang, I've been to that place 7 times. Edward Strand is here saying good evening. And the app is free. It's a free app. And TripIt is also free for the preliminary, the basic settings. Everybody's popping in. Let me say hello. Good evening, family from Edward Strand. Hey, Keisha said, hey, cuz. Hey. On the go, y'all says, I've been to 27 states. I try to do a new U.S. city and somewhere abroad each year, but it doesn't always work out. Yes. And that's what my newest thing, YOLO, is balancing out like all these cruises and my land-based experience. So yeah, I definitely want to get, like, I want to do the whole Maine, Rhode Island, Vermont, what is it called? Route or like that little segment, because you can get to each one pretty quickly, like 2 to 4 hour drive in between each. But I always end up sneaking in a cruise. So Travel Yes We See says Brussels Airport is interesting because it's segregated with African flights in their own terminal. Interesting that you say that, Travel Yes We See. So my client that I sent to Kenya, we were supposed to be on it. And this is why if you work through a travel agent, please don't miss your deposit. Like, make sure you had that deposit on time, because literally I had a client, his deposit was a little late and he had a straight flight from DC to Nairobi. Well, he missed that deposit date by 2 days and we lost that one direct flight from DC to Nairobi. He had to stop in Brussels. He had to stop in Brussels. And if you've been through a European airport, baby, it can be so confusing because the signs sometimes are small, the signs are few and far between, so it's kind of easy to get lost. But I had not experienced the terminal, but I do. Good to know. Travel SVC, but you remind me of that. And I can't remember what airline he was on. It might have been Lufthansa, I believe. But yeah, you see a lot of interesting stuff. I have a story that if somebody remember, I won't say it here because it's very inappropriate, that one of my friends had overheard a travel agent say, not a travel agent, had heard a flight attendant say while he was on board British Airways, and let's just say a bottle of gin spilled, and the flight attendant alluded to the gin could clear up whatever of a certain virus was on that plane. And it wasn't the COVID one that she was talking about. It was very stereotypical. So that's the kind of shenanigans you have. And I usually don't like to deal in generalizations, but I have noticed from I've been to the concert almost 10, probably a little over 10 times, that leg between wherever in Europe down, it's not the same. It's not the same experience. If they're going to give you an old plane, they're going to give you not so great flight attendants, or the flight attendants are going to have their own preconceived notions about a lot of things. So, in summary, they send the And see, I have not flown Ethiopian Air yet. I have heard good reviews, except for Ethiopian can get a little stingy with the wine. But I've had a couple friends who took Ethiopian, because I think you go over, the plane stops for like an hour, switches out passengers, and then it heads down to South Africa. You already hear me talk a lot about South Africa because I've been there the most. But we're going to get back into, I was telling y'all about Ghana. My next trip would be Morocco solo in 2018. So I'm going to get into the comments. I told y'all a little bit about Ghana. That was the African experience that I was just like, whew. Feels pretty authentic. But it also taught me a lot about culture. Like when I used to have this thing about Black folks being loud. And then when I went to Ghana, it was the eye-opening experience of like, oh, this is where we get it from. Because people are loud and they're talking passionately, and it sounds like they're arguing, but they're really not. And it's noise. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, we get it from the ancestors, like totally get it. So, I would go back to Ghana just to visit Accra. I want to go party in Accra. We did so much of the, and usually I go places the first time, I do so much of the touristy, what is it called? I want to do the historical things, that kind of stuff. But I did not party in Accra as much as I wanted to. So I would go back to do that. But the only issue is like, if I go back to Ghana, it's going to be hard. Inter-African flights are like, it's better to fly out of Africa, go to Europe, and then fly into another African country, because there's not a really good infrastructure for flights within the continent. So that's just something like, I wish I could go to Accra and tag something else on. But I don't know logistically how that would be. YFC is in the building saying, hey, Carlene in chat. Hey, YFC. Welcome in. Edward Strand says, oh, so you're telling me not to look for much on our last leg, leaving Amsterdam to Italy for our cruise. Boo. No, because you're going to go, you'll still be within Europe. If your cruise leaves out of Europe, you're going to be fine. It's the flights from Europe down to Africa, like anywhere in the continent, any country, they're going to send you an old plane. But if you're in Europe, like even when I went on Play Airlines, so I went to Amsterdam last year. The Play Airlines plane from Baltimore to Amsterdam was older, but that plane within Amsterdam, I'm sorry, where we stopped? Iceland. Baltimore to Iceland was an older plane, but Iceland to Amsterdam, the plane was much updated. So if you're within Europe, you're usually fine. I was simply talking about if you're flying from Europe, because usually when you're going from the US to any country in Africa, you're gonna have to stop through Europe for the most part, and the planes they go from Europe down are usually trash. So that's what I was talking about. Folks are speaking. Monet to the T is here saying, hey, see in chat. Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, Chris and Capers, your grandfather is from Ghana. Awesome. Ghana also taught me a lot about the, like, what is it called? Matriarchy. How women, like the women's role in regards to royalty and that kind of thing, and that whole thing about, and not just matriarchy. So yes, the matriarch of the family, the first woman, but I guess we call polygamy, I believe. I don't want to, we're multiple wives. I don't want like YouTube to get me in trouble. But the whole dynamic between a man taking care of multiple women, and sometimes these women might be like, you know, a deceased relative's widow or a family member they took in. So it was just interesting to see that too. And then the queen and the tribe, and then how, you know, it means a lot to be the first wife versus the fourth wife, and dowries, all that kind of stuff I got to learn and got it. So awesome. And not that I can remember, I only went to Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast, and does he know like which tribe? I know it was Ashanti and there was another. So tell me more about your grandfather. Very interesting that you knew that. Travel LCC says Ghana, if you have an American accent, put down $100 roulette table. They treat you like royalty, thinking you're going to spend a lot of money. They bring food to you nonstop, Johnny Walker. I mean, a lot of places hear the American accent. People love like talking, hearing, particularly Black Americans. It's an honor for people to like to see us on the continent because of just a lot of the stereotypes that come with Black Americans. No shade, but real. So folks like to hear our accent, but sometimes that American accent gives you the American accent tax, where all of a sudden, you know, it might be free entry to a nightclub and they hear the American accent, and it can go either way. It can either get you that table that they said they ain't have no more of, or you're going to have to grease the palm of the bouncer's hand, you know, and you're going to have to figure out what you need to do. You know, again, from like a safety perspective, I frequently, you know, you don't want to be really loud and everybody knows that, oh, that there go the Americans. That mean, you know, for instance, currently the South African rand is like 18 rand to $1. Well, that's a lot of money. So it's kind of like, oh, you know, money just walked in, even though, you know, we know it here, we got our jobs, etc. But folks here and they think certain things. So, but I definitely think the hospitality also comes from a genuine place too. Like I have a coworker who recently retired. He has a farm in Ghana. That could be another trip. Honestly, we want to go to Ghana. I have a coworker who just retired. He owns a farm in Ghana. And he was like, whenever you're ready, come. And he said he would host me. So I'm sure he would open up to some folks. On a go yellow says, of all the countries you visited, which was your favorite country? Well, South Africa is my favorite place in the world, period. And it will be my favorite place on the continent. I would say beyond South Africa, like my next favorite would probably, I think, Morocco. I appreciate. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But yes, South Africa is definitely my favorite place in the world. I'm trying to think what would be my second favorite place in the world. That's the real question of like what I like next. On the go yellow says the math wasn't mathing. Oh yes. Yes. So yeah, we eventually picked up that we were getting played, and I had read a book. And I was just like, the historical context that they were saying, like, this doesn't match up. But they were definitely playing on the emotions for sure. And then another hustle was like, everybody had a school in Ghana. And, you know, they would want some of your items like, well, oh, you know, if you don't want to put those shoes back in your bag, donate it to us and we'll, you know, it'll be money for the school. Another hustle would be like those bags that some of y'all are sending Salvation Army end up in the market in Ghana. Or so, I don't want to put Salvation Army in the bus, but some of those like donation centers that you send your stuff to, or some of those organizations, that stuff is getting resold in the market somewhere a lot of times. So just FYI. Hey, TJ's definitely. Oh, but yeah, the slave water was definitely a hustle. It's very emotional, but the math, the time, the everything was not mathing, timing, making sensing, because I was just like, nah, y'all want us to pay $20 or $50 to write our name on this wall. No. TJ's Destination saying, hey, everybody, welcome in, TJ. I was enjoying your story on Saturday. On a Go Yellow says, I hear that men in Morocco can be a bit sexist against women. I would say, so the first time I went to Morocco, I went solo. So I have to preface that with, because I didn't have men around me, and I'm like, if you want to get paid, you need to listen to what I want to do. I didn't have that experience. But I will say, the second time, so the first time I went to Morocco was in 2018. And what I did was I found a really cheap flight. And again, had to go from DC to somewhere Rome and then Rome down. And of course, like I told y'all, crappy plane from Rome to Morocco. But I got to the hotel and I knew I wanted to go to what's it called? The Souk or the Medina? Where they have this square and they have like the snake charmers, which I'm like, please don't take me near the snake. I hate snakes. They have the monkeys, all that stuff. But I knew I wanted to do a little bit of shopping, that kind of thing. So I asked the hotel, like, can you hook me up with I didn't want a shared excursion. I wanted my own, like, I hire somebody for 4 to 6 hours to just walk me around. I knew I didn't want to walk around by myself. Like, Morocco was the first time I went solo, and I was just like, oh shoot. The first time after, like, the first time I went solo was Paris. I was scared poopless. Like, I was nervous. But after a while, I kind of, got into this whole solo thing. Well, when I went to Morocco, that was the first time I was just like, I'm like, I can't believe you're really doing this. So I think because I was like coordinator, like he wasn't like disrespectful. But the second time when I went, we were with a group of men. And so they, like, not a group of men, but like there was a mixed group. So there were men in the group. And yes, they would like defer to talking to men, that kind of thing. But it was kind of like, ladies, we didn't care because we were just like, let them settle everything. But yeah, I couldn't tell the first time because I went solo and I was kind of like, I don't want to sound like, but I was kind of calling the shots. Like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be in there. No, don't take me to no tourist trap. He took me to like the oils. Then he tried to take me to the whole like, carpet place, that kind of thing. My brother, that thing. And I was just like, no. And after a while, I was like, well, you just stand here. Just make sure I get all this look okay. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of places, men, like, we have to be mindful as American women. We have a lot of privileges that women in other places don't necessarily have. So I would say the sexism comes in a good bit. My cruising family says the best rate we saw for South Africa was on Kenya Airways. So we could have connected in Kenya, then continue to South Africa. Heard not great reviews in one of my travel groups, though. Yeah, I've never been on Kenya Airways. I've only been on going. I've been on Qatar. Really love Qatar. And I love Qatar not just because I like business, but I also love they have a really comfortable, if you talk leg room, Qatar Airlines has really great leg room in the economy. Of course, I did Delta, which I did the long flight from Atlanta over. So I went down from DC, Atlanta. I've done United. United probably had one of the worst business class experiences of my life. Heard they're rebranding soon. Hope they get it together. I had a black flight attendant purser who like woke me up and she was just like, are you having a good time? I was like, no. And she gave me 2 bottles of wine. So that made it a little better, but it was still a crappy experience. I've done Lufthansa. I've done Air France down. I don't think I've done any of the apps. So I have not done Ethiopian or Kenyan. I know I have a friend who did Ethiopian Airways coming down. My cruise family says we chose United nonstop. Yep, I've done that where took the small plane from DC to Newark and then Newark with the long flight over. That was actually the route that I was just like, yeah, because I upgraded to business and it wasn't, they weren't as attentive as they probably should have been. And then when I woke up in the morning, the lady was like she's like, are you enjoying it? First, she was trying to figure out like, why was I Like, she was like, are you traveling for business? I was like, no, just traveling for New Year's. And then she was like, well, how are you liking, what's their, I can't remember what it's called, their business class experience. It's Polaris. She's like, how are you enjoying Polaris? And I was like, it's okay. I don't think I would do it again. And then next thing I knew, like 2 bottles of wine showed up, and then she started becoming very attentive. So I gave her props because I think she tried to make it a better experience, but Charlie SEC says, we took Kenya one time, great service. The flight attendants all look like models, same with Ethiopian Airways. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just not on my radar, but maybe one day. Miss Sydney saying, not even a stop to refuel. How long again was that flight? Yeah, no, Miss Sydney, a plane can stay up in the air. I think what was the longest route on current record is 18 hours or so. I think that's a Qantas flight, or at least it used to be. So planes can stay up in the air pretty long, but you have certain like flights, Atlanta to Johannesburg or Atlanta to Cape Town. That's like a 14 and a half if the winds are really good. And then you have Newark to, Peter, does it go to Cape Town, both Cape Town and Joburg? They have an extended route for like almost 15 hours too. So yeah, you don't have to stop. Then you have, like Ethiopian, who will stop I'm thinking about where's Ethiopia? I'm blanking on the name of the capital, Ethiopia. You'll stop there, they'll gas up, and then they'll keep onward. And there used to be one in Senegal. There used to be a route to Dakar that would stop for gas for 55 minutes, bring on new passengers, and then fly down. But there are literally some that will fly that long without stopping. My cruising family says no stop to refuel. If I remember correctly, it was 14 and coming back, it was 16 hours. Yep. No worries and no pressure. I'm not pressuring anybody. I'm kind of a person like, awareness. Awareness. Because I know everybody here is smart people, but it was just funny that I had made a general statement about the continent of Africa in my vlog, and somebody was like, it's not Africa. You got to pick a country. You got to say it. So that's all. Tanya Barnes is saying hello. She's headed back to Ghana in August. Oh, awesome, Tanya. How long are you staying? Travel SVC says almost everything collected donation centers is sold in bulk for export by the pound. Absolutely. Yes. It ends up in those markets for sure. My cruising family says we took Newark to Cape Town. I think they had a Joburg one though. Yeah, I think they do. Usually the long distance routes, one will go to Joburg, one will go to Cape Town. Because those are just like the popular routes for sure. So, okay, we talked about Morocco. I've done Morocco twice. One time solo. They have a really great excursion that was like in the desert and the Arabian Nights kind of thing. Definitely do yourself a hammam. And it can be where they do like the scrub, and then they scrub you down really hard, and then they put like oil on your body, and it's a really wonderful experience. You can do a really fancy one, or you can do one for $40 and they're throwing plastic buckets of water on you. But definitely recommend those experiences. Definitely get the Moroccan tea and get the tagine. And then the last spot that I went to on ground or land-based was Zanzibar. And Zanzibar was cool. Zanzibar definitely showed me like how slow the rest of the world can be. So literally there was no conveyor belt. They threw your luggage through some plastic flaps, and that was the baggage claim. And I know a lot of times you see those like pretty, the aqua water and that kind of thing. You have to travel a little more to get to that part of the what is it, island? But definitely worth it. So those are kind of, to get to Zanzibar, I stopped through Turkey. And I was on Turkish Airways, another air carrier that can be occasionally stingy with wine, depending on who your folks are. Tanya Barnes says her trip is 11 days. She's taking a small group, and she will be there with them for 8 days. And I'm staying 3 more to recuperate. I know that's right. Love your channel. Oh, thank you. And thank you. I will for sure. So I know a lot of you. Okay, so that was land-based. Let's talk about cruising. In regards to like the continent, etc. And welcome in 25 people. Thanks for hanging in there. I know like this is not your typical cruise chat, etc. But having visited the continent, I wanted to give some information, debrief, let folks know that what it's like. Again, I have not been to every place. I've only been to 4 countries, but wanted to share that. So let's talk about now what it's like to cruise. And I'm going to basically just kind of like share my screen to let you all know like what are the kind of the cruise options. I will say, I know everybody was like, I want to take a cruise, you know, out of Africa to Africa, etc. And I will let you know it's going to be a pretty penny. I believe MSC is the most affordable. So I'm just going to kind of show you. Let me see if I can share my screen again. What to expect, talk you through this a little bit. It might get a little boring, but you know, this is for the people who are really, you know, the travel aficionados. This chat is for you. And next Monday we'll probably have a not live stream. Next Monday will probably be a premiere of a video of some sort. So I won't be yapping next Monday. I'll be in the chats with you all. So I want to show you all kind of what some of the planning looks like when you say you want to like cruise to Africa. So I'm gonna or to the continent. So I'm going to show you, hold on, trying to do some pre-work and get this loaded up real quick. All right. So I'm going to share behind the scenes just to kind of show you all what I'm talking about, in regards to like booking those kind of things and which ships, etc. are heading that way. I hope I'm doing this right. One second, y'all. I always have to remember how to do this. I think, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna share you some of my back office of my travel agency, but I just want to give you all like a idea. So here I want to say my destination is somewhere in Africa. Picking a port. So in regards to what your departure port is. Now, of course, you can go from like, make sure I'm not sharing nothing too crazy with y'all. Hold on. Of course, you can pick like a departure port. For instance, when you all know I was on Regent 7 Seas when I got off, which was on Voyager. Regent 7 Seas, I believe it was on Voyager. I can't remember no more. But that cruise ship after I got off of Barcelona, that was heading all the way down to Cape Town on Regent. I'm going to basically pick out. So Europe is an option. I'm going to skip out from Europe down. I'm just going to pick out some of the African ports, like departure ports that are in the continent. So of course, if you were heading to a cruise, you can do out of Cairo is an option. You can do Cape Town, Dakar, Senegal. You got Durban, which is out of South Africa. Making sure I hit on all the ones. They have Johannesburg here, but I'm pretty sure I'm not geographically. I think there's like a cruise tour package. I'm pretty sure Johannesburg is landlocked, but I think there's like one where you fly, etc., back and forth. Port Louis is Madagascar. Who else? And Walvis Bay is South Africa. All right, so I have all of those set. Here are going to be your cruise lines that are going to go. And some of them, again, you can see are like Amma, Avalon, Azamara. There's a Costa, but I'm not sure. Cunard, Limblad, I have not heard that one, but it rings a bell. There's MSC, Norwegian, etc. I'm not going to pick, I just want you all to see here. Regent, of course. There's mention of Royal Caribbean, etc. And then here you can see where the things are. So let's just kind of hit search right real quick. I hope I hit everything. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay, make sure I didn't hit nothing. All right, let's just hit search just to see what the cheapest one is off the continent. So there's a way to, here we go. We want to search by cheapest in price, because I know everybody always wants to say, what's the cheapest? So let's go cheapest by price. All right, so Peter, let me know, Peter, which ship were you on again when you went out of Cape Town? So the cheapest cruise that you can get that's currently available out of, and it looks like it'll be out of Durban. So out of Durban, South Africa, will be a 2-night quick, and MSC is coming through with affordability. You want to like double these prices. I'm just going to show you, like, of course, there's prices that are posted, etc. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just trying to show you what your options are. But here, 2-night kind of cruise out of Durban. It looks like it's just doing a loop into the ocean. So it's a cruise to nowhere you can do out of Durban. And a lot of people, whenever I visit, say, I hope I'm still showing y'all the right thing. Hopefully I didn't lose people. I should probably check to make sure I'm still sharing my screen. Am I still sharing? No screen. We see a barcode. Oh no, I didn't do it right. My bad. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh crap. I was just running my mouth. Oh, crapper. Thank you. I was like, let me check to make sure I'm actually, let me remove this. Let me see if I can, let me remove that from the studio. There we go. Okay. Thank y'all. Sorry, y'all. Okay, let's go back. So what I was discussing that I was describing, but I wasn't actually showing the screen. So here you have where I'm showing, I have it like, what's the destination? Now, again, I told you all you can go out of Europe, other places. So I'm literally just saying, what are the departure ports on the continent? So I basically hit all the departure ports on the continent. Here pops up every cruise line that you actually can sail on. And what I still no screen right now. What are you seeing? Are you seeing me? Blank screen. Oh, crap. Okay, can you see me? Can you see this? It's looking like a black screen. Let me make sure. I'm sorry. And my cruising family has been cruising out of. Can you see a screen now? It should be one. I think yes. Okay, cool. Thank y'all. You can see me, or you can see. Okay, can you see the screen now? I was basically just trying to. Okay, great. So what I was trying to do, thank you all, technical difficulties, 27 people hanging in there. So basically what I'm trying to show you are here kind of quick options in regards to if you were coming out of the continent. Here, I've only filtered by true departure ports leaving from the continent of Africa. So somewhere, one of the African countries, one departure ports. Of course, you can go from, like, again, what I was saying, when I was on Regent, the Voyager left from Barcelona, and it went down to eventually stopped in Cape Town. I'm just going straight, like, here are when you're on the continent where you can sail out of. Alrighty, so great, we can see the screen. Now, hopefully, I'm scared to, okay, I think you all can still see it. It's blue. All right, I'm going to check in on you if not. So I'm going to go ahead and hit, again, here the cruise line. So I'm a Waterways, Avalon, Costa, etc. All right, I'm going to hit search cruises. I probably should check my phone to make sure I'm showing y'all the, let me do, and I'm going to, what is it called? I'm going to filter by price because I know people are always like, what's the cheapest whenever they reach out for a rate? They want to know what's the cheapest. I don't blame you. Like, you want your biggest bang for your buck. Let me just double check on my end that I am showing y'all the right thing and do a little bit of quality check on my end. Okay. Thanks for hanging in there, y'all. Okay. So basically the cheapest you can get right now is on the MSC Opera, which is 2 nights out of Durban. So again, if we are down in South Africa, go to Johannesburg, go down to Cape Town, pop over to Durban. Those are all a couple of hour flights and pretty affordable. Yep, I'm showing you all the right thing. And this is a cruise to nowhere. It's saying $247. I would say double that. So it's probably in the $400-ish range. And again, these are just prices that I would definitely look at, like, what the website says, but it gives you a just generalization of what your options are. There's a 3-night from Durban where you get to stop on some sort of archipelago. And then I believe there's a 4-night heading to Mozambique, etc. So again, you see MSC is going to be your cheapest options out of the continent and I think I stopped sharing it again. Okay, I'm going to stop because I don't want to lose people. Is it still showing? Is it scrolling? Let's see. Only the screen. Yes, good. Okay, let me keep quality checking. Okay, I'm gonna give up on this. But let me see. I've researched this already, so I can stage. I'm just gonna run my mouth because I know it. Okay, cool. We'll have to do behind the scenes later. But you all can see. So if you're down in Cape Town, etc., you can definitely, or Durban or somewhere in South Africa, you can get your cheap cruise on MSC. I will say, if it's not MSC, the other places that I saw, of course, you have your Egyptian Nile cruises. So that's your Emma Waterways. When I was looking earlier, those are going to be the ones that are going to hit you over the head about, I'm talking about almost like $10,000 for 2 people in a cabin, probably more, 10 to 14,000. Some of those cruises also include, the flights in between spots. There's also is Amma Waterways. Amma Waterways is up there with Disney in regards to, well, actually Disney contracts Amma to do their river cruising. So you get kind of, we don't see the price options. Yeah, I don't want to keep showing it because I'm not sharing it correctly. Maybe I'll try to figure out how to do like a screen record and do a members only video in regards to like searching some African cruises. But I want to give people a perspective in regards to that. When people say like, I want to cruise Africa, and I'm just like, be prepared because you're either going to be down there, do yourself a quick, the cheapest is going to be really out of South Africa, either heading to out of Durban or out of Cape Town. Cape Town, you have to be prepared because I noticed my cruising family, like they can have really strong winds. So if you come out of Cape Town, you're probably doing Namibia. But I've noticed that they're not selling that Namibia route recently. PETA, I have to double check that. So that kind of gives you hopefully some perspective in regards to when you say you want to, visit the continent, when you say you want to visit Africa, know exactly which country. Is that better now? Have an idea where you want to go, which country you want to go to, and then a plan. So yeah, once again, one more again, I'm going to show these last little quick slides of if you're interested in possibly an African land-based trip. I'm going to show you my QR code, but there's other options in regards to cruising that you can definitely join me with. Let's share these. So again, I have the Good Gov Getaway, which is Labor Day, and we are maximizing our PTO heading out on Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady, which is my favorite lady ship, August 29th to September 3rd, which is Labor Day, heading to Taino Bay, which if you didn't see that vlog, it was released yesterday in regards to what the Taino Bay options are. So hit me up related to that. Because that was in final payment, it will require full payment. However, I do offer payment opportunities through FlexPay. The next one is, there we go. With Sig, the solo cruiser, and Jen Danielle hosting the Ultimate Solo Group Cruise, June 22nd through 26th, 2026. Those prices are a little older, but you can email me or Sig or Jen for updated pricing. It's $100 per person for your deposit, and we're on Celebrity Reflection, having a good old time at possibly Hideaway. And uniting with solo cruisers. You don't have to just be a solo cruiser to get on that one. I know I have booked sisters and couples, so hop on that one. Then the next Good Gov Getaway will be in 2026, and we're going to be eating and drinking around the world at Epcot, October 9th through 11th, 2026. And that is a kind of meetup. So it's a come, you don't have to book through me. But we're going to be kind of eating, drinking around the world together. So you can scan that QR code. And because we talk so much about like South African travel, if you're interested in possibly joining me for like a coordinated, probably intimate group trip to South Africa to visit. You can also scan that QR code and just on there put what you're interested in, either the Epcot or the South African trip. Let me know, and we'll probably have some sort of orientation just to kind of level set some expectations so you know what you're signing up for, and we all can make sure that everybody has a great time. Let me stop sharing and get back into the comments one more time, and we have Yellow. I'm going to do probably like a members only some sort of like screen where I can show you all what I'm looking at and talk more through it since I was having technical difficulties with sharing my screen with the link. My cruising family says, yep, that quick trip had us miss Namibia. That short cruise is how we ended up with the cruise to nowhere. Pick a long one. Yeah, put a few days, but I do know Cape Town has these notorious winds that sometimes won't let what is it called? Ships get in and out. And I've also noticed now, PETA, I haven't seen as many trips leaving out of Cape Town, and I wonder if that's why. Sig says, yes, I originally wanted to do a cruise out of Africa for my 60th in 2027. Yep, it can add up. I mean, the options are there, and they have really nice itineraries. So if you are not a channel member, you can join the membership and get more exclusive behind the scenes information related to like maybe, that kind of information. So well, thank you 28 people for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed the topic. This is the Monday Meetup. My name is Carlene. It's my channel, Steve with C. Every Monday we have content here, which is either a premiere of a video or a live stream or a trip announcement every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to seeing you next Monday, which is Memorial Day, and that should be a video premiere. I'm thinking it will be my last day on MSC. If it's not my last day on MSC, it might be a Celestial Journey vlog. We'll see, which will be me cruising out of Doha. So you get to see another type of cruising that isn't the Caribbean. All right, it's CMC. Thanks for coming to chat with me. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good week, y'all. Good night.